What is up, everybody? It's Stefan, today brought to you by copious amounts and probably unhealthy amounts of caffeine. In case this is your first time listening, there's an awkward pause there, Jesus. But in case this is your first time listening, my name's Stefan. I am the host of this segment. We call it Stefan Reads Line News. Line is, of course, the biggest messaging app in Japan, and it has its own news tab now, which I like to read every day on this here segment. I am Stefan. I am represented by Yoshimoto Kogyo, the largest entertainment conglomerate in Japan. Although represented is a loose term, really just meaning that I can't really do work on my own without getting clearance, which I do not have to do this. Weird explanation? Yeah, but that's how it is. Anyways, let's get to today's news. Today, by the way, is August 25th, 2022? Yeah. Okay, so in case this is your first time listening, which I've already said before, Line News, the front page comes with 2 rows of big old news stories plus text. So like they have the pictures and the headlines underneath them, and sandwiched in between those 2 rows are 3 actual news headlines that are pretty much buried, because they're nothing but little text with maybe like a little like flashing new insignia, if there's anything to indicate that it's news. But that's how it is. We'll cover those in a second, but let's get to all the fluff first. Story number 1, and boy, let me tell you, it is a fluffy one, is literally just an ad for the next episode of Nogizaka46's All Night Nippon. All Night Nippon's a daily, it's a daily late night talk show. Every single day of the week has a different personality hosting it. Nogizaka46 is apparently in charge of Wednesdays, and next Wednesday is going to have a special kikaku, so like a special event. It's going to be a celebration party for the end of their summer tour and also their new single release. And that is literally the article. It's not really... I mean, there's nothing really breaking about this. There's no news being broken here. It's literally just an advertisement for what's going to happen next week on Nogizaka46's late night radio talk show. So I know we got a lot of Nogizaka fans out there listening and watching this. And, well, now you guys have been made aware of what's going to be on next week's episode of Nogizaka46's All Night Nippon. I guess it's only fair. The last couple of days have been like nonstop, like former AKB48 member news stories. Not on purpose. It's just what the algorithm provides. So I think to balance it out, it's fair that we get the most mundane, useless piece of Nogizaka46 PR firm advertisement drivel for this news segment here. Let's look at number 2 now. Number 2 is not exactly fluff. I don't know if it's exactly news, but it's literally just a security... It's an article about how there's security camera footage, and they give you the video in the app itself of a guy robbing or like ripping off the front of like a used car part store. So this video, he apparently picks up a 26 kilograms, so that's what, like maybe 50-pound air compressor, right in front of the camera here, and rips it off during Obon Yasumi. Nonetheless, this is apparently news. Although, I mean, coming from America, where people rip off car dealerships and stuff all the time, normally, like, they just go underneath the car and, like, rip out their catalytic converters and everything. But I guess in Japan, this is noteworthy enough to be news on Line News. So that's the top row of useless news stories. Let's look at the bottom row here. Story number 3 is, I wonder if there are any ARMY people out there. ARMY, of course, being BTS fans, because number 3 is an article about how BTS's Suga, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that, please don't, I am completely and totally the wrong person to be giving out BTS news, although who doesn't like some of their catchy songs, but apparently on a live stream that he was on, Suga talked about how he and other members of BTS got tattoos, matching tattoos to indicate their bond. Yeah, BTS has, of course, like the rest of the world, has a strong following in Japan. Although I think Japan would always like to say that they were fans of BTS and of K-pop in general before the rest of the world. I'm not really sure if it's a contest or anything, but Japan has always, despite the greater efforts of some aspects of the media industry here in Japan, always had a strong appetite for K-pop and Korean entertainment options, as you can see in this article here. Moving on, story number 4. This is the last of the fluff stories for today. This is an article about a gravure talent, a gravure idol, so a glamour talent, glamour model, I guess I should say, moving to Amuse. Amuse is they're like a mid-sized entertainment agency here in Japan. This model's name is Inoguchi Ayako. She was operating as a free talent for a while. Now she's moving on to Amuse. Amuse is medium, but they have some pretty big names. I believe Perfume, I don't know if they are still part of Amuse. I haven't really checked lately. But the techno-pop idol group Perfume was Amuse, and as well as Kwata Keisuke from Southern All Stars, which is probably the biggest Japanese rock band, or the biggest rock band in Japan. Although it's not really, you can't really call them rock. They're kind of more like pop rock, but in like that easy listening, like adult contemporary sort of way. Okay, I'm getting on a weird tangent about Southern All Stars, but yeah, Amuse is they're like a medium-sized industry. So this agency. So this article is pretty much just talking about how Inoguchi is moving on to Amuse. She won the Fresh Campus Contest June Grand Prix at Aoyama Gakuin Daigaku. Aoyama Gakuin Daigaku is a pretty good university, and they're also kind of famous for like being a model or a announcer factory. So a lot of like tarento and like female talent and female news readers come out of Aoyama Gakuin. Yeah, she followed that lead there, and now she's in Amuse. There's a comment from her, and then there's also a profile on Inoguchi Ayako, talking about how she was born in 1997, and now starting in August, she is going to be represented by Amuse. So if you ever want to book Inoguchi Ayako for a job, oh no, it's actually, I've been saying her name wrong. It's Inoguchi Ayako. Forgive me. Sorry. I should have known that beforehand. But if you want to book Inoguchi Ayako, you can do so by contacting Amuse. Alrighty then, let's move on to the actual news stories. There's 3 of them here for us today. Story number 1 is about the Saharin 2 natural gas oil platform that Mitsui and Mitsubishi were working on up in Russia. Obviously, things have been going not great on that aspect, considering Japan, as along with most of the rest of the developed world, is currently embroiled in a bit of a trade war with Russia. So it looks like both of these companies are going to set up a new third firm, and then they're going to see if Russia is going to give them the okay to go on with their oil platform drilling project that way. But good luck with that. I have no idea what's going on here. This story's been on the news here in Japan for like the last half year, probably, like ever since the whole war in Ukraine started. And every single time they bring it up, like they do a terrible job of explaining what the situation is, aside from underlining that it's not a good situation in terms of Japan's national natural gas oil import export balance or whatever. So hopefully that works out, but maybe not. Yesterday there was conversations about like restarting, developing new nuclear power plants, and now today we're back to talking about oil. So who knows what's going on here in Japan when it comes to energy. Now, moving on, story number 2 out of 3 for the top news headlines here. It's about how Teams, Microsoft's remote work, uh, big, intra company communications platform, file sharing service. You guys know what it is. It went down again today, which, considering Japan's mostly run on Microsoft, is a big deal here in Japan. Although I will say most of Japan's computer systems are all still like Microsoft XP or Windows XP levels of out of date. So I'm not sure how affected they were by Teams going down, since I'm not sure that XP can even run Teams. But Microsoft is working on getting Teams back up at the time of recording, and hopefully things work out there, because there's a lot of people that need Teams to be productive. Speaking of technology going down, biffed that one. The third and last article for today is about how NTT, which I think is like Nippon Telephone Technology, I think is what it stands for. I'm not quite sure, but it's a phone company. But NTT Nishi Nippon, so NTT West Japan, is experiencing outages in certain terms of service, also with internet as well. In Aichi Prefecture and Kyoto Prefecture and like 10 other prefectures. This has been going on since 9 in the morning, and it's still affecting some areas. And they don't know when things are going to go back up, which is weird because yesterday, what was it? KDDI, I think, which is like a phone company, also was having issues with connecting, and the people weren't able to make phone calls. So I wonder what's going on here. Lots of these companies are, maybe there's some Japanese, someone's hacking Japanese telecommunications networks. Hopefully SoftBank isn't next, because that's what I use. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't yet done so, like, subscribe, all that jazz. You know what it is. You can find us on Twitter at small_in_Japan. Find me on Twitter at Stefan_Tetsu. Patreon.com/smallinjapan. We're fixing that. We're working on that still. Until next time, I'm going to go take a nap. I've been up since like yesterday. Yeah. Bleh.